Welcome to Casual Swinger. If you're under 18, the following podcast is not appropriate for you. The subjects and language are for mature audiences only. If you're not mature in nature, just make sure you're old enough to vote. We don't take ourselves seriously, ever. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any opinions or statements made on this podcast, our website, or our blog. It's all in fun, folks. This isn't Dr. Phil. Now, consider yourself, the listener, properly advised. Hey everybody, welcome back to Casual Swinger. I'm Mallory.
I am Mickey.
Hi, baby.
Hey, lady. What you doing tonight?
You later.
Sitting there looking all sexy in your robe.
I look homeless right now.
Maybe a little. I mean, if homeless chicks sat around with lipstick and a robe on.
I know. I just want to be comfy.
Okay, well, you got that going on.
So we're back. Episode 17 of season 2.
Oh, that's right. We're cucking around.
Yeah, cucking around with Jack and Kissy. We have an interview lined up for you guys with a couple we met through social media, actually, to start. And then we had the pleasure of having a conversation with them in Jamaica. And they agreed to join us for the show.
Yeah, they started out as listeners, which was really, really cool. They were really, really nice to us and said a bunch of nice things, and then tracked us down on the beach at Hedo. And man, I tell you what, they told us a story that laid me out.
I think they have several stories that laid us out, but it was so fascinating. It was hard not to ask them to share that with the universe, right?
I kind of felt like they had to. I mean, it was a moral imperative.
Very, very much so.
Right.
Very much so. And their origin story is what really got me. And I didn't get that part when we met them in Jamaica.
You know, having done the interview, because that's the way this podcasting shit works, folks. We go do the interview and then we come back and tell you what we did. But, you know, their communication was probably the most solid, trusting communication I've ever encountered in the lifestyle. And I was like, we have to let you tell your story on the show. And I think that's what our listeners are going to hear here in a few minutes, is that these guys, I mean, they did most of the talking in this episode because we'd ask them a question, pull their string, and off they'd go.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And man, I got to tell you, Jack is the most passionate dude, like about Kissy and about life and about telling stories. And
oh yeah, they're madly in love with each other. And I was so impressed. And you mentioned their communication. It not only is it healthy, it's empowering for both of them. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely supportive. I mean, if I have to give like top 3 examples of couples that I know that communicate very, very well and have had success because of it, they're definitely up there.
Oh God, yeah. And you know, I felt like we had to, when they told me their stories, like that absolutely has to get out. People have to hear about it. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a listener, you might hear this story and not believe it, but they actually took pictures. And they're on a website. It's a Hotwife forum. And I'm going to post a link in our show notes so you can actually go see the photos of this event that you will just not believe that happened, but it did.
I know. And I'm tempted to paint some picture, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone.
Not at all. No, I want you to listen through to the end of this episode, and you got to hang in there, right? This is going to be a little longer episode for us than most of our usual episodes. It's not like a 2.5 hour episode or anything.
No, we don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's maybe, 15, 20 minutes longer than usual. And it's because we wanted them to tell that story, and you got to hear it. And, if you have any interest in the Hotwife or the cuck lifestyle or stag vixen, you're going to be into this.
Or even the creative influences, because the second half of the interview, they were telling us of how they took that element and dabbled in some creative role play.
Oh my God, yeah, they're role playing. I thought
I'm
we were
not
going
to ruin it.
I really thought we were creative, but we're not.
No. I am totally boring compared to that.
Right. So, well, let's move on, because we're just going to end up telling the story, and I don't want to.
I know. Okay.
Let's move on. So, this is the part where we usually go, hey, time for crappy ads.
No.
Guess what? No more crappy ads, guys.
I'm so done.
We're done. We hate doing it. We hated doing it. So what we're going to do is every once in a while, we'll drop a reminder of something we're doing or what's up or where we're going to be, but no more fucking ads. Ads suck.
Yeah.
We don't do this for money. We don't do this to sell stuff. We do have casual toys. If you want to find it, go to our website. It's there. Somebody will tell you about it. That's great, but nah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to find out where we'll be, I mean, we have it on social media. You can message us directly.
Yeah. And you know what? If we're doing something that's really cool, we'll talk about it. And we'll get to that in a minute, because we are going to Nashville and we want you guys to know about it, because we're going to do a room block down there. But before we get to that, since we did mention casual toys, You probably should tell everybody that the site is still fucking down.
I'm so brokenhearted, man. The patriarchy. Like, who knew how hard it would be to sell rubber dicks?
I thought rubber dicks made people happy, but
Me too.
they don't make bankers happy, apparently. So, long story short, what happened to Casual Toys? People ask me this every friggin' day right now, and I'm going to tell you, Casual Toys is still a thing. I'm almost done setting up the new bank stuff, but what happened is my inventory provider that loaded inventory into my site loaded in all the stuff I'm not allowed to sell. And when that happened, my credit card merchant bank provider was like, and so we got shut down. So I couldn't take credit cards anymore, so there's no point in showing you all the cool stuff you can't buy. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can go in the whole diatribe about the patriarchy and high risk and, you know, what we're allowed to sell and why, but I don't think it's worth the listeners' time.
And how it totally fucked over our Valentine's Day shopping rush.
Yeah, I had the cutest little love sacks ready.
I know. You can play with my love sack.
Okay.
Just bat
It's a
it
nice
around
consolation
a
prize.
Rub it on your face.
Oh, my God.
All right, just rub it on your face. Don't bat it around because that's probably not going to
Just rub it
feel
in my
good.
face like a cat, like with catnip.
Meow.
Just meow. Purr a little bit. You got it.
All right. So anyway, you know what we really need to do? We need to thank people for their awesomeness. Have you listened to other creators this week and other podcasts this week?
Yeah, I've listened to everybody, and my face hurts from smiling and laughing and blushing, if I'm being honest.
Me too.
I'm not. I do secretly love affirmations, like in passing, but I never know how to take a compliment, and I've had to stop several and just pause for a second because I was starting to get really emotional.
You know, my favorite thing that I hear from the people that we meet out in the wild and from the other creators is that hanging out with us and listening to the show don't feel different. And I love that. I love that's what we bring to the table. It's because we are who we are. We really don't put on a show for you guys. We don't come in here and I mean, I'm not kidding. Mallory's sitting here in her robe.
I am.
But, you know, it's when we get together and we get to throw a party for you guys, and that's what we got to do at Secrets. We got to throw a party for our friends. And they were friends we haven't met yet, just like all of you. Everybody out there are just friends we haven't met yet. And we got to do that, and it was so friggin' cool, and everybody had so much fun. And I think that's what I loved. It wasn't like a big affirmation from my perspective as much as it was they actually had a good time. That's the affirmation. Right.
That's the reward, because we do have that. Would you call that like a element of compersion?
Very much so.
Yeah. Seeing other people have a great time and being able to engage and feel like I've known these people for a long time. And even though that was maybe the first time we met face to face, and again, building this tribe and having this community, I don't know what I'd do without it at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know that we have to twist people's arm to get them to come to Orlando in the winter, but it was awesome. And we're going to go see some of those people, which I'm really, really, really excited about.
Yeah. I heard
most of them are going to be in Nashville.
Yeah. When I was listening to Bob and Nikki's Our Naughty Escapades, they said they would definitely come back to Secrets. So let's twist our arms a little bit for maybe something in summer.
Can I twist Nikki's nipples? I don't really want to play with
I
Bob's
don't.
arms.
I want to watch.
He shirt cocks all over the place. I don't want to get too close.
I'm going to get him a little cape for his penis. If he's going to shirt cock, you got to like style it up.
Whatever. I'm going to put a top hat on mine. It's kind of my thing.
Nice. I love that.
Like a little monocle for the eye.
So what else we got going on?
So we are going to Nashville. Just so you guys know, we're going to be there. We're going to Menage with Double Date Nation, Our Naughty Escapades, and Euphoria Chronicles. We're doing that on April 5th. So if you live in the area.
I think it's April 4th, love, because our concert's Friday the 3rd.
All right.
April 4th.
All right, so we're going to do that on April 4th.
Sorry. Was that condescending? I didn't mean it to be.
All right. So we're going to Nashville, and we're going to go to Menage. And we're going to be there on April 4th.
Good job.
Hey, check me out. I got that date right. Only took me 2 tries. We're going to go there with Double Date Nation, Our Naughty Escapades, and Euphoria Chronicles. So look forward to that. If you guys live in the area, you're nearby, come down and hang out with us.
Yeah, stop in, say hi.
If you don't live in the area, check out our website. We are going to put up a room block at a local hotel. We actually kind of picked one. It's a little bit older, and it's not as nice as some of those downtown hotels that are like right downtown, but it's a little bit cheaper, and we're not going to be in there that long anyway. We're going to be out partying, so that room block should be able to save you some money staying downtown and get you to hang out with some of your favorite podcasters and also Casual Swinger.
And also us. I like that. You know what else I like?
What?
Empowering women. and talk about non-monogamy and the ethicalness behind it and kink. And
is that what we do on Casual Swinger?
Yeah. So I had a great conversation today, and there's going to be more to come. But I've been asked to participate in a panel regarding our lifestyle.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I feel very honored. I'm very, very excited about it. If you guys want to check it out, this is actually a free all day long webcast that they're doing on many, many topics. It's live.internationalkinkywomensday.com.
That's really cool.
And that's going to be Sunday, March 8th.
So that's not too far away. So we'll probably talk about that more before it happens.
Yes. I'll get more details. Tell you which panel I'm going to be speaking on specifically. Thank you. Huge shout out to Venus, Cuckoldress V.
Check her out.
Yeah.
She's got her own podcast now. We're going to have her on soon.
Yes, I would love to.
All right. That's pretty awesome. So you'll have to tell me more about that because we haven't had a chance to talk about that too much yet, but it sounds
No.
cool.
We've had a crazy busy day, so we'll get into it some more, and we'll do some posts on social media to give our listeners more information.
Hey, do you hear that noise in the background?
The rabble rousing?
That sounds like cock blocking.
Does it sound like cock blocking?
Yeah, it sounds like cock blocking. That's our dogs right now, but it's not just our dogs that cock blocked us.
No, we have a specific child this time that is
that child.
Epic cock block. So we had some lifestyle friends come in from Pennsylvania. It was so great to see them, and it felt like, again, like we've known them forever. Like there's just this comfort and freedom when they're around. I don't know. I've been looking for a word.
Yeah, there's something about those two, and it's been that way since the first time we hung out with them at Naughty. And it just, there's this ease that comes.
I think it's the lightning in a bottle.
A little bit.
Effect,
they're
right?
Super cool. She's sexy as shit. I'm not going to say he's
they
sexy.
Both are.
Well, no,
they really both are.
I can't. I'm not buying.
But what's your favorite color?
Yoga pants.
Oh my God, her in yoga pants kills me.
I stole that from Tiff, by the way. But,
yeah. That is Tiff's.
Yeah, that is Tiff's line. But man, yoga pants is definitely my favorite color. So I agree with you, Tiff. If you're listening to this, baby, I agree.
Yeah, she wore them all weekend. It was amazing. Our children are older, but they still live at home, and especially the older one, she knows, right? She's an adult, like a legitimate adult. So she has an idea of what's going on.
She's an asshole.
She is such an asshole. So we never tell our kids, no, of course they can socialize. And that's part of our lives and our dynamic, right? Especially here at home. And they were so kind and so understanding and entertained it. But that bitch held in there all night long.
She did. And so something for you
Both
guys to know out
nights.
there, because you guys are probably out there listening going, what the fuck are your kids around if lifestyle people are around for? Because number one, our oldest knows about our lifestyle, number one. And number two, we weren't doing anything. We were just hanging out with friends.
Right.
So everybody was dressed and there was nothing that wasn't obvious to her. But at the same time, we were like, you can leave anytime now.
Right. Because there were quite a few moments where it felt right, but the environment wasn't right.
No. And it's like, okay, it's probably not going to happen. It still felt like cock blocking, though. And, I think the worst cock blocker might not be the asshole kid.
No, it's usually us, because we get in that mode where we're entertaining and engaging with people and being hyper social. And Dee from Euphoria actually mentioned this on their last podcast too.
She did.
That it's hard, and it really is, to get out of that mental state and cycles and be present and go for those opportunities when they're there.
Yeah. Well, and I was just talking to Nisha last night on Facebook. And O-Faces in Atlanta is, a party that happens once a month.
Oh my God, we need to go there and see those guys.
We do. We love them to pieces. But they were she says that she almost never plays when they have parties because she's so busy hosting and entertaining that she never gets to have any fun. And her husband gets to have all the fun.
I totally get it. I'm there, like my role is to make sure everyone has a good time.
There was a post earlier this week, and I want to say it was something that Erin posted on Secrets, when she talked about how, what is your secret, right? What is your thing, or that you would like to change about yourself and the lifestyle? And I said, I would love to know when to get out of that entertaining mode, but it's my comfort zone. I'm comfortable making people laugh. I'm comfortable that way. And I'm not comfortable asking for the business. I'm not comfortable saying to somebody, hey, I like you and I want you to like me too. So let's go play. I don't know that I could say that. It would be very out of character for me to say that.
I got to thinking about it, and a lot of the experiences we've had, either I have initiated as a group format play, or the other couple or female has. Only on a couple rare occasions that I can identify that you were, I don't want to say aggressor because that sounds like a little creepy. Like you're like, come here, baby.
Come here.
Yeah.
And then I look at them and I say, I want you. And they say,
I'm not going to do this again if you keep hitting that button. Seriously. So annoying.
Love it. It's my happy button.
No, that's not your happy button.
No.
That's between your taint and your asshole.
So anyway, between us cock-blocking ourselves, and yeah, there was a kid that kept hanging around. Yeah, we call her a kid. She's in her 20s, but we definitely had a super hot couple come stay with us for a couple nights, and actually we had other hot couples that came and stayed with us and cock-blocked then, and then we had couples come back and visit and cock-blocked again. So we have this kind of cock-blocking theme going on, but no one shit in the floor.
No one did shit in the floor, and I think I'm going to cock-block her when her boyfriend comes to stay. I think we're going to all invading her bedroom and watching a movie together.
I'm going to be like, want to hang out?
Yeah.
Can we watch something on TV in your room?
Let's play a game.
Do you need to snuggle?
Monopoly?
How do you guys cock block your kids, dearest listeners? I'm curious. We're going to find a way to do it, but
yeah, you're asking for advice on how to cock block our kids?
Yes.
That's what you just did.
That's what I want.
Oh, God.
I can't wait to hear what people say on Twitter.
No. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
It's going to be awesome. But hey, we have a great couple for you guys. They're amazing. Their communication is crazy. It's going to be a story that I think you guys are going to want to talk about for a long time when you find out exactly what they did. And I think they are the Cuckold world champion couple as far as I'm concerned. So we've got them coming up for you here in a minute. Their name is Jack and Kissy, and maybe we tell everybody how to find us and we get the hell out of here. What do you think?
Sure,
honey?
Let's do this. You guys, you can find us on social media as Casual Swinger. That's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find our website, casualswinger.com, and send us a message there or directly to our email, podcast@casualswinger.com. If you want to find us on the sites, we are on SLS, SDC, Cassidy, Double Date Nation, Quiver, and is that it?
Oh, I think it's enough.
Yeah.
It's probably enough. Hey, folks, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute with the amazing Jack and Kissy. We're just cucking around. You've been listening to Casual Swinger. Hey everybody, welcome back to Casual Swinger. My name's Mickey.
And I'm Mallory.
Oh, do we have something for you guys today?
So excited.
So we're super excited. We have on the phone with us today a real life breathing, real life hair and beard, maybe no beard, but a cuckold couple by the name of Jack and Kissy. Jack and Kissy, how you guys doing today?
You're doing fantastic.
Oh,
doing great.
That's really good. That's better than good.
That's wonderful.
So Kissy, are you great because of something else or just today?
There's always something to be great about.
Well, first things first, I think we need to thank these guys. Thank you for joining us and your willingness to talk about your story a little bit. You guys are busy. You guys are business owners. You guys are hard workers. You raised a family. So to take that time, it's really not easy to bear your lifestyle like this.
No, it's a lot like bearing your soul. So we're very appreciative that you guys took the time and want to discuss this with us and our listeners.
Well, we are super excited. And Mickey, Mallory, you two are awesome. And we were so excited to be able to get to know you better and talk last time we were at Hedo. So I'm super excited to do this. I think it's going to be really fun.
Oh, that really was a wonderful experience for me. I don't think I really articulated how impactful that was to be able to have those conversations face to face, because you guys have a really enigmatic personalities. You're beautiful humans to begin with, but your attitude, your demeanor, how you guys interact with each other, that's probably something I'll remember for years to come, if nothing else. And then framing those conversations.
I'm cute.
They like me. They really, really like me. No,
they like me.
You know what? I'll never forget meeting you guys, because you guys walked up and you were like, "We're listeners and we're Jack and Kissy," and I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys! I know exactly who you guys are." And then when you started telling me your story, my jaw just got closer and closer to the ground, and I'm like, "We cannot not have these guys on the show. We have to get them."
I have to agree. It was so positive and so unique. This is just a real treat.
So for everybody that hasn't picked that up already, if you're living under a rock or just not fucking listening right now, we met these guys on the beach in Jamaica. And so many times we get to meet people, in live and in living color on the beach. And that's what happened at Hedo, and we got to share their story. So you guys, you have a really interesting story. I know you guys have been together for well over 20 years, that you've known each other. You guys have been married, 7 years? So
Yep, 7.
Tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us about your origin story, how you met, how long you've been in the lifestyle, how you discovered this dynamic.
So, yeah, it's funny because we love talking about our story because we're so passionate about each other, but we're like super passionate about our story as well. So, we've known each other for 25 years. We've been married for 7. We actually met at work, and we worked together for the first 10 years of that relationship. I actually interviewed Jack for the job that he was applying for at our company, and it's kind of interesting because we did not like each other the first few years that we knew each other. We were just like, okay, this is not good.
There's a little bit of a power dynamic here from the start. Wow.
Yeah,
but I'll always remember when she interviewed me, though. She had on these burgundy nylons and this little dress, and I was like, "Gosh, she's kind of hot." But I found out, relatively soon after that she was a little bitch. We did not get along. But eventually we kept going through bosses. Like we worked together in the same department. And we'd have a boss, and a year later he'd leave, and a year later she'd leave, and we realized we're the survivors, and we have to kind of like work together to make things work. And we developed a really cool synergy. Like we just, we were each other's, wingmen when it came to work, and it was a really awesome working relationship. And then so we worked together for 10 years. And eventually I left the company, and Kissy's marriage had ended. We were married to, other people, and I was going through a separation too. I remember I even asked some friends, like, I want to ask Kissy out, but we had this great working relationship. It was platonic, Someone told me, no, you got to ask her out. And so I did, and we started dating, and it was like instant soulmates. I swear it was just, we were made for each other. But Kissy was very careful on not crossing the sanctity of marriage. So, I was still married. I was separated, but we were still married. And so she basically said, we're not having sex. So we ended up exploring so many different ways on how not to have sex. Like first base,
really?
Second base, third base, sliding into home so close, we explored foreplay 101 and 102. Like we could teach college classes in that.
So you got your master's in foreplay.
I decided anal sex wasn't sex.
See, that's what I was just gonna say. Support me in this, guys. Anal doesn't count.
It is.
Right?
Exactly.
See, honey, I told you,
Totally
anal doesn't
doesn't
count.
count.
We can totally do that.
Go home, Mickey, you're drunk.
That was an epic declaration, by the way.
That's fantastic.
I'm very pleased by that because it supports everything I've been telling Mallory for years and years and years.
Whatever.
It was anal. It didn't count.
Don't even.
That's awesome. So how did you trip into this sexual dynamic that you discovered? Because it sounds like you guys, you had a mutual bonding over hatred of your bosses, and then you came together and you started finding a way to be together in ways that didn't violate where
your values were in relationship.
Values.
Yeah. The relation of marriage. Yeah.
Next thing you know, this. So talk about it a little bit. How'd you find this?
So I think it really started from that not wanting to cross that line until Jack was actually divorced. And it just forced us to think about our relationship in a different way and kind of explore the different naughty aspects of life without having sex. It really was just kind of how we started that. And, being able to look at the different ways to explore each other and explore each other's bodies and really get to know each other on an intimate level. And it brought about this, kind of whole another level of vulnerability and just closeness within us.
That's fascinating that there was a denial in the beginning, from the very beginning, and I'm just sitting over here beaming ear to ear because it's the coolest thing ever.
It is.
Well, I think there's a little bit more to it as well, right? Not only were we exploring the naughty side, but we also just came off of failed marriages, right? And we knew that the statistics are second marriages are twice as likely to fail. And so we were like exploring marriage survival because we knew we were going to get married. We were just dating and we're studying all these books on second marriages and how to make marriages survive and stuff like that. And I learned a lot about, what Kissy's needs were, what a wife's, top needs were, and how important that was to make sure that I take care of in order to get my needs met, because, her needs and my needs really are different. I mean, husbands and wives' needs we're not wired the same. And so I learned, her number one need, the big A, and that's not anal, it's affection. And that,
I'm with you, sister.
How to shower her with affection, to come home and give her hugs, write her love notes, to, all those things that guys aren't really wired to do. You have to literally write reminders of how to do some of these things, the communication piece, the transparency piece. So I became her rock star to meet her needs. And then she was kind of open to my needs.
Right, because I realized, okay, he's doing all this stuff to really try to take care of me. For us, early in our relationship, it really made that a very key piece of us getting just super in tune to what each other needed and wanted.
I absolutely love that.
She made me very comfortable, to explore these fantasies. I had some guilt and stuff from, first marriages. Sometimes there's a lot of restrictions and things, and you explore a second marriage and you have a wife that is like, no, let your fantasies come out. It's okay. And she allowed me to do that. And with that, one of my big fantasy was seeing her with another man. Then we would explore it a little bit, out in public. She'd go into the bar, dress a little slutty and stuff, and she'd go in alone, and I'd come in 10, 20 minutes later to watch all the guys hitting on her. And of course, I
no
get
one
in there.
ever hit on me.
I seriously doubt that, because Kissy, you're gorgeous.
I would sit at the bar alone, really? Can you please just come talk to me? Because no one's just sitting and drinking alone, and this is pathetic.
I absolutely love this. So you guys have already framed this in such a beautiful way. You started off, not having the physical, actual intercourse with each other. So you allowed yourselves to be vulnerable, open that up for exploration, where a lot of times we kind of bump or skip over foreplay. And with that vulnerability that you guys had with each other, maybe that had an element in that level of comfort to open up those lines of communication to kind of get you guys where you were or where you are today. So
absolutely.
My question for you both, because you kind of said, you kind of tickled around this, Jack, that, maybe there was a little repression going on in your previous relationships. Did you kind of have any idea what your fantasies and kinks are now as they related to you back then? Did you kind of know, or did you ever have those thoughts prior?
That's a good question. To a degree, but it's funny because I think about, just even when Kissy and I started dating, we had started to explore and into, the things that we made reality. And it always has blown my mind that I couldn't even conjure up the fantasies that we've lived out. Back then, I would have never have dreamt of some of the damn naughty things we've done. I've had some of those fantasies early on, but to meet someone to make me not feel guilty about exploring those. We'd go to bed and I'd say something. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'd literally apologize. She's like, oh my God, this is fantasy. Let anything you want. This is just fantasy. it's okay. And it's like, oh, really? Okay, here we go.
How about you? How about you, Kissy? Did you see yourself in this? Did you have any inclination prior to this that this was something that would actually fulfill you as well?
Not at all. My first marriage was a very friendly marriage, but it was a very vanilla marriage. When I first started kind of exploring different things with Jack, it really just opened up this whole different sexual experience that I just never even considered in life. When he would fantasize and we would be in bed together, like once he got divorced and we actually could have sex, he would fantasize about, me being with another man. And I was like, okay, like I can have sex with like a whole bunch of people. This is awesome.
So your wheels started to turn and you're like, I think that actually turns me on a lot.
Like from like the Hotwife perspective, like this is amazing, right?
If I could interrupt, we did all this fantasy stuff. And then one day I asked her, what if we make it reality? And Kissy, you said what?
I was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen because, Jack. Well, just because I was so afraid of bringing it into like reality and him being hurt by it. It's one thing to do fantasy, right? And anything's possible in fantasy, but when you're actually like in a room and another person is fucking your wife, like that's going to mess with your mind, right? So I was really, really afraid of that. And
no, it's not.
Well, let's kind of talk about that a little bit, Kissy, and I'd like you to start because I think that there's a huge empowerment aspect to this lifestyle, this aspect of the lifestyle, the Hotwife, Cuckold. There's a lot of names for it, Stag, Vixen, and I think you guys really don't embody a particular name because you guys are so just. I really feel like you deserve your own category. But so let's talk about fear for a minute. Was it scary for you, Kissy, and Jack, I'm going to give you a chance to give your part of this in a second, but was it scary to go through this discovery phase and really evolve? And tell us about any trials or tribulations. Tell us about something that popped up maybe that didn't go perfectly, because I think a lot of times when we talk about our lifestyle and we talk about the things we do, we always talk about the great stuff, but we don't talk about our bumps and bruises and the scars that we earned along the way. So was it scary? And tell us how you fucked it up.
Yeah, we did. For sure. Because we didn't have any clue what we were doing, right? I mean, we had no idea about, different, like lifestyle types of organizations or anything. Like when we had the idea of like, hey, I wonder if, we could make this reality, like all we knew about was Craigslist, right? So it's a whole different dynamic there. Or we would, we'd meet someone kind of organically and we would go out to a club and there was, a particular guy that I was very attracted to. And, I would try, we would flirt a little, we'd, kind of make out a little at the bar or something. But when you bring up that conversation about, something else happening and, he got like all freaked out, right? It's really difficult to try to meet someone organically without them already being in a, forum or situation where they're already looking for that kind of dynamic.
Almost shocking to them, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. So we had met a guy, or I had met a guy, and I was like, I like him. He's kind of cool. And, we were getting a little naughty kind of in this booth at the bar. And, eventually he kind of like whispered in my ear, like, hey, I want to be alone with you. So I kind of, so I in turn told Jack he wants to be alone with me and basically made Jack go away. So I had this amount of time with this guy and it got a little naughty, but then, I go back to Jack and we're riding home and it's just like completely silent. Right. And it just was like, okay, yeah that's not good.
Right. So and it wasn't what I wanted to happen. I mean, I sat on a bench outside of the bar and I'm like, okay, I'm not seeing any of the things that are going on. This isn't what I wanted to happen. I mean, I wanted to be there. Him sending me away, I literally got kind of like heartbroken. But at the same time, I wasn't angry. I'm like, she's thinking that I'm into this, but I'm like, sad and
You're in
I'm like,
timeout.
oh no, this isn't. Yeah, I'm in a timeout. And so so the ride home, she knew I was hurt, and our vows to each other are to protect each other's hearts. And she just basically said, we're done. We're not doing this. This isn't going well. So I had to we had to talk through it, and I had to convince her, no, this guy just wasn't the one. It's okay what happened tonight. I want to try again. We learn from our mistakes. You learn, this is the first time we ever did something like this, and we're a little wiser now. We'll be smarter. We'll make sure that he's like, yeah, I want to be with you, but not with him around. Well, then that's not the right guy, because that's not the cuckold hotwife dynamic that we were looking for. Some are like that, there are different degrees of the cuckold dynamic, and some, it gets pretty extreme, where some cuckolds want their wife to actually end up leaving them for the other guy. I'm like, no, I'm not that crazy, she's a good cook and makes more money than I do. I kind of want to keep her.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So I could absolutely sing your praises all day. I adore you guys. Your personalities shine. You're madly in love with each other. Do you think, given the story you just, gave us about, some of your first experiences there, some bumps in the roads, do you think that there's a byproduct of being honest about your desires and having the ability to act upon them? Do you think that's been part of your process here?
Yeah. What's your secret?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think from the beginning, we were so focused on each other's happiness. We had the ability, because we trusted each other completely, to be completely vulnerable with each other, with what we wanted or what we needed, or the fact that, Jack leaves stuff in the sink and it drives me crazy,
Guilty.
I know, right? So we're checking in with each other all the time and constantly. Yeah, it's just, it is. We're just so focused on what each other needs and what each other wants, and being able to try to make that happen for the other person, and knowing that in return, that person is doing the same thing for us.
Jack, what about you?
What Kissy said is absolute truth. It is that it having that communication piece, right? That's the foundation. And everyone says, oh, you have to communicate, but you do. I mean, you really have to be in tune with each other. And it is what? We haven't really done anything naughty for a while. I start to whine a little. And it's hey, what if we meet so-and-so or whatever, and then it's, yeah, you need that. Well, I need that. That sounds fun. We do this together. This whole, naughty side of life is an accessory to an already rock star marriage, right? I mean, and I think that's the key. And people will ask, well, don't you get jealous, or don't you get worried? What if she falls for him? And I good luck. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, because of what we have in the foundation of what we've built. And I don't think anyone's going to steal her away with, his giant cock, because, I could provide all the other things.
So personally, what's the most enriching part of a hot wife or cuckold dynamic for each of you as relates to you as a person and to your marriage? And is it the same thing?
Kissy is the most gorgeous and erotic and sexiest, and just she's my pinup girl, and nobody could ever compare to that. And so to be able to see that, see what I have, see this amazing woman with another man, that third party aspect, I just kind of want to watch what she does to me, and oh my God, it's that piece for me is just so freaking erotic. I guess that's kind of the core of the cuckold dynamic, but she's just gorgeous and beautiful and erotic, and I love her. And
I love the excitement in your voice, because I'm like, I think he's getting a little hard right now.
Right?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gushing.
I love that when he talks about her, from the time that I met Jack, that when he talks about Kissy, he sounds like he's opening a present on Christmas.
Yes. That's a great analogy. It's perfect.
Every time, Mon, every time.
Jack is an excitable boy, so you do have to take that into consideration in any conversation.
All right. Well, let's hear your side of it. Kissy, what is it about this dynamic in particular that's enriching for you?
So can I just say that I really like fucking a lot of people?
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah, you can.
Absolutely, you can.
Like, I do really enjoy, like, just the physical action of the situations that we find ourselves in, which are very interesting and sometimes. But, just that aspect of it is, like something just I fundamentally enjoy. And knowing that seeing me with someone else is erotic to him and something that ultimately enhances our marriage is just crazy, right? So the rule that we have is always about just protecting each other, and anything that we do has to be something that ultimately enhances our marriage, and it's not for the benefit of just one of us and not the other. So being in a situation where I can see and have Jack participate in something, and we have this very cool dynamic, but then afterwards we also have the ability to have months and sometimes years of fantasy fodder that we have within our marriage that constantly keeps the excitement within what we've already built with each other, and that's just so cool.
So I love that you use fantasy fodder, because that's like a wonderful descriptor, and I'm totally stealing it because I love alliteration. It's absolutely perfect, and that there's build up behind it, and it kind of sounds like, did you specifically, Kissy, go through like this discovery phase where having someone, a partner like Jack in your life and going down these paths together, did you find yourself becoming more in touch with your sexuality, your desires, whether that's like more intense, more frequent orgasms, and a sense of like empowerment with embracing that side of your sexuality?
I think certainly from empowerment standpoint, absolutely. When I'm doing that and knowing that kind of the actions that I'm taking are something that is also going to like bring enjoyment for Jack and bring pleasure into our marriage, I can play that role, right? So I can be the person who flirts with someone at the bar and engages in conversation and becomes that naughty person. And I know that I'm doing that all within a very safe place, because one, Jack is, watching that and making sure that I'm safe, or that we've set up the situation and it's, a safe place for me to explore that kind of side.
I love that. So you're kind of like embracing like almost an alter ego, because it's a little counterintuitive to being an introvert.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. Because he's a whole different person than like my normal person.
That's pretty, I mean, I want to say crazy, but it's not crazy in like a, you're ripping your hair out in my dorm room kind of way, which that totally happened. I'll tell that story sometime. But it's more of just a, wow, like this dynamic. I mean, it's no secret that cuckolding is a massively erotic and interesting thing for people everywhere. It was the number 2 porn search in 2018 on Pornhub, which is massive. It's second only to lesbian. So other than eating pussy, we love to watch girls get fucked. But I want to ask you a little bit about your wedding, because you guys came up to me on the beach and you told me a story that knocked my dick in the dirt. I was blown away. So you guys came up to me and told me that you went Dutch to your own wedding. So I want to hear all about how you guys went Dutch at your wedding, and I'll let you guys interweave this story together. So tell this story to us together. Tell the listeners of Casual Swinger about your wedding day.
Hold on, I'm getting popcorn.
Oh,
No,
Absolutely. Grab some popcorn, maybe a cocktail. For
Right?
sure, a cocktail.
Perfect.
My drink's empty.
Oh, let's go.
we had a decent sized wedding. I think we had about 175 people, and it was an outdoor wedding, and it was all family, friends, our pastor of our church. We planned, and then there was a big reception afterwards. And, but we did a little planning with our his name is Dutch, and he was our very first, which we didn't even get into that, like how amazing it was to have somebody that is so good and in the bull role, and how difficult that is to find. And we found someone that was like set the gold standard, and really nobody has ever been able to recreate that and come close. And it kind of changed our. Go ahead.
Just to interrupt, he has a really big cock.
Good
Is
to
that
know.
why we call him a bull?
That's valid.
Yeah, right. So he kind of broached the subject of, so you're getting married, and what if I consummate your marriage on your wedding day? And we were like, okay, how do we go about this? And prior to this, he's already led us on some freaking crazy journeys, things that, that's a whole nother podcast, trust me. And so we started planning with him, like, okay, so you'll come, like, meet us at a park about a mile away. It's on a lake, and it's a mile away from where we got married, and we're going to meet him and get naughty. And so we started planning this, and everything had to go right. The odds of this actually coming to fruition were probably so slim, because number one, he had to be in town. He's a military man, so he had to not be off somewhere. Number two, we had to escape our wedding in her white wedding dress and my tux or whatever, and we had to be able to hey, we're going to go take some sunset pictures by the lake.
By the way, we're not taking our wedding photographer with us. We're going to take another couple.
I would hope so, because you'd have to
take
pay
some
that
pictures.
photographer. You'd have to pay that photographer a pretty penny.
Right.
And no one was the wiser.
He's going to. Right.
So all this planning had to go into it, and everything had to be right. And so there came a point. We had this couple. They're in the naughty. We call it I guess you call it the lifestyle. We like to call it the naughty, right? So anytime I say the naughty, it's the lifestyle. But naughty just sounds better. So we had this couple that we were friends with, and we're like, you guys got to come with us. We're pulling this off. You have to be on guard for anyone that may be coming in the area. You have to also be our photographers, because there was some photography that was happening to document that this just wasn't some made up penthouse forum, because even when we tell the story, it sounds so fiction, because it still blows our minds to this day of what the hell we pulled off. So we leave our wedding with this other couple, and where are you going? Every, family and friends are like, oh, we're just going to take some pictures. We'll be back in just a half hour. We get there. He's waiting for us in a car at this park, and he gets out. The four of us get out, and we walk, and Kissy and Dutch are holding hands. I'm behind them, her white wedding dress. We go down by the little park area, by the little private kind of park area, but there's nobody there, no kids or anything. And, our friends are kind of watching out, making sure no one drives up and stuff. And, it started to get naughty, and I'm holding up her white wedding dress so that, he could be with my wife. And this is the first time that he decided he's going to go bareback. And, we made sure he's military. He does the tests and stuff like that. So we knew ahead of time, this is cool. And literally like 45 minutes after we got married, there's another man fucking my wife, consummating my marriage. And
Holy
mind
shit.
blowing. And then, yeah, right. And then, you know, that all happened. And then we have to get back to the wedding. And he's like, hey, you know, and he left and we got in the car, went back to the wedding, and we get there and they're like, hey, you guys, where were you? You got to do the wedding dance. So we get up there and we're doing, you know, okay. My brain is just going crazy because I can't, you know, I'm ADHD to begin with. And I'm like, oh God, what just happened? And we're starting, we went to dance lessons for this wedding dance, right? We were going to like throw it out there at friends and family of what rock stars we are at weddings. And so we start doing this awesome wedding dance, and I'm forgetting all the steps. Kissy, what did you whisper in my ear?
So I lean into him and I'm like, Dutch's cum is running down my thighs. And he just like loses it.
I'm wiggling.
I'm really trying to speak, and no words are coming out of this open hole in my face.
Wow.
And he's literally like, he lost it from there on. And so then from there, I'm like, okay, step left, step right, step left, turn me. He was like just speechless and gone. Like,
so you have 170 people. 170 people are watching you, and you have a dick so hard a cat can't scratch it. And you guys are trying to dance with a hard on, and you've got cum running down your leg from another guy from by the lake, and you still haven't fucked your wife yet. All right, do I have that right? Do I have that right? I just want to make sure that I got all the high notes.
That's true. That's accurate. That's accurate in all ways. Yep.
And by the way, I have seen the pictures. Yeah. I read the stories on the Hotwife forum. I went and looked. You guys showed this to me. There are photos, guys, and we're going to put them in the show notes. If you sign up for this forum, you're going to see this story the way they wrote it. So just, I mean, and I'm sitting here listening to this and hearing you guys laugh about this, and I'm so just enamored with the two of you that I mean, for fuck's sake, that fantasy. By the way, we had Cuckoldress Venus on our show. And Cuckoldress Venus is a renowned cuckoldress. And one of her fantasies is to have a gangbang on her wedding night.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll never forget
she's
that.
She's like, I don't know if I could ever pull that off because it's going to be so hard to pull that off. You guys come in a clear, easy second, and you managed to pull it off.
Yeah.
I'm sure
nothing will ever stop it.
Yeah, Dutch could totally have actually pulled that off for us, I'm sure. So if I could speak about Dutch for a minute. We were so fortunate to have met Dutch as the first person that we experienced anything in what we call the naughty. We got in contact with him, eventually, you know, met him at a bar for a little meet and greet. And he was so instrumental in just educating us about the lifestyle and the dynamic and what we were getting ourselves into, and basically said, you guys have no clue what you're doing, and let me help you out. And he was awesome, right? Like, he was attractive and he's super nice and he's, you know, this hardcore military guy. And it just was like the first person that, you know, Jack wants to like see me fucking someone, like it should be him for sure. So we had like, you know, we had set up this meeting with him and we booked this hotel room because we're like, okay, our first meeting should be really special and it should be at this hotel room and it should be, you know, all of this stuff. And ultimately it was his ability to act as a true bull within this situation. So he just was mind fucking Jack for, you know, a couple weeks before this and teasing him and playing with him, and the dynamic around what he's able to do prior to the situation and prior to any time we do anything together was just really incredible. He really made that situation just super comfortable for us. And pushed our limits, certainly, but in a really good way, and just, made it something that ended up being just an amazing night. And it was the start of what became a, very long-term relationship. Like, we still see him today. He's,
wow.
Someone that we, it's amazing. He's, like we said, he's led us on some very interesting situations that would take a whole nother podcast to go into, but he's just one of those people that, like, we were so fortunate to have him as the first person that we had any exploration outside of our relationship with, that it really made kind of everything going forward good.
So it kind of sounds like he set the bar for being a bull.
I'll just give you an example. He's like, Jack, this is before the very first ever date. You're going to go to the pharmacy or to the store, wherever, and you're going to buy a box of Trojan XL Magnum condoms. And you are going to tell the clerk, these are for my wife's lover. And she's going to be there to make sure you fucking do that and say that to the clerk. Like, what? And I had to do it. Yeah. That was just one of the things. I mean, he knew how to be the puppet master, right? A good bull doesn't just fuck your wife while you sit in the corner and watch. That's boring. I mean, it really is after a while. I mean, great the first time, second time, then it's like, oh, whatever. But he was able to mind fuck me like crazy.
All right. I'm going to pick my jaw up off the floor.
I know.
I got to ask this question.
I know.
So, let's just back up for a second, because even if people have read the swing scenario on casualswinger.com, where bull is a term, I have clearly not fucking defined this term well enough. Jack, tell the listeners of Casual Swinger, what is a bull and what differentiates a good bull from a bad bull before you tell us some more of the stories about how this guy mindfucks you, because I got to know more. But I need to answer this question because people are going, what's a bull? And I don't know that context is enough.
A good bull is a man who is confident, and a man who obviously wants your wife, but also understands that this is a dynamic of three. This is bull, this is Hotwife, and this is Cuckold. And all three are active participants in the dynamic, in the relationship. And he knows that I enjoy a certain degree of humiliation. He literally is the biggest cock that Kissy's ever been with. And he'll even intimidate me, like, Jack, pull out your cock. I'm like, oh, fuck, do I have to? Really? Because you're like 12 plus inches, if not bigger, and like,
Jesus.
It's crazy.
Whew, I'm starting to sweat.
What does he feed it?
I really don't.
Kissy?
It's insane.
Kissy's pussy.
It's being the puppet master, right? Because there's a lot of guys who say, oh, I'm a bull. Okay, you're good at fucking my wife. That's great. But a guy to fuck my wife, those are a dime a dozen, but someone who really understands the dynamic and really knows how to include everyone, that is a bull.
So he had you go to the drugstore and buy the condoms big enough to cover your average fire hydrant, and then you delivered those back, I assume. So what happened then?
So he also had me like set up the room at because we, 10th floor of the downtown Hilton. We decided we're going to have it there by the window. He made me, move the table so that the window is like clear and free. And he said beforehand, you're gonna have a table ready. You're gonna have a little towel on the table. You're gonna have the toys. You're gonna have the lube, the exact lube that I want to use. You're gonna have the condoms. You're gonna have everything ready for her. I don't know how far to go with the details on this.
As far as you want to, because it sounds very like involved.
So he's military. So he said, I'll be there at 1800 hours. And I'm like, Kissy, he's going to be here at 1800 hours. I have no fucking idea what 1800 hours is. So we had to figure out, that's 6 o'clock. Okay. So we're down. She gets dressed up, little black dress and stockings and, the heels. And we go down at the hotel bar and it's 6 o'clock comes on the dot. He shows up and I went up and got him the cocktail and they're giggling and having fun. And, we're talking and they're giggling and having some more fun, and it's happening.
Can I tell this part?
Yeah, go ahead.
So he's whispering in my ear about, okay, so, we're going to push limits a little bit tonight. And, it's both for you and for Jack. So, okay, Kissy, I want you to go in the bathroom and I want you to take your panties off, and then I want you to come out, and when you come out, I want you to drop those panties in Jack's hands.
So while she's doing that, she excuses herself. He starts talking like, hey, how about the Packers this year? And, and I'm like, it's so cool. And we're talking football and things like that. I'm like, this guy's really cool. And then Kissy comes back and she says, Jack, hold out your hand. And I'm like, okay. And I hold out my hand. She drops her panties in my hand. And he says to me, Jack, go to the bathroom, take off your little boy shorts, and slip on her panties.
Oh, wow. Shit.
What? Yes, sir. And I fucking do it. Like, I'm just like, I'm so obedient at this point. Like, oh, God, okay. And I literally threw my underwear in the bathroom wastebasket. And, oh, my God. So they're giggling when we get back. And he's like, now don't these fit better, Jack? I'm like, oh, God. So he's like the humiliation factor. He's pouring it on. It's so good. And then it's time to go upstairs. And we go into the room and things all started to happen. And they got into bed together after she, was on her knees for a little while and other
nice
things.
Work.
He's going down on her in 2 minutes. She hit this massive orgasm. I was like, holy shit, I could never do that in 2 minutes. And he took her like in the window and had her bent so she's like facing the window, and he's doing her in the window. And okay, I'm jumping ahead a little quick because I'm an excitable boy. But
I could tell how excited like all of this makes you.
I
love
he's
it.
Such an excitable boy.
So they had an hour of an amazing, incredible time. I had an hour of an incredible time in that bedroom. And then he's like, okay, it was done. It was over. He's like, I'm going to take a shower and then I'm going to go. I'm going to get out of your hair. I don't linger. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. And he did. And he left. And we were like, holy fucking shit. We went out to get some pizza like on nearby. And we looked up at the window, the 10th floor of that Hilton. And it's like, oh my God, anybody that looked up there was seeing you like boobs in the window shaking. Oh God, what a night. A night that we'll never, ever forget.
How many times did you guys have sex in the next 24 to 48 hours after that? Like a lot, right?
Oh.
Right? Like just constantly, right? It's
like you couldn't tie your shoe without getting fucked.
So I guess the lesson learned here, because some people will explore this dynamic and they'll try to make this happen. And a lot of the mistake that a lot of people will make is they'll rush into it. You have to realize you as a couple are the gold standard. Make sure that you are patient and make sure that you hold out for that guy that really feels like a fit for both of you. Just take your time. Sometimes you want to jump in because it's exciting, but no, take your time, do your homework, make sure that this person is the one that's gonna be that good fit.
I think people have figured out by now if they're listening to this show, we're going long here, and we want to go long here with this because this story is so unique.
It is, and it's a great perspective from a really solid couple who genuinely loves each other. You spend a lot of time being vulnerable and exploring and taking that time.
The level of honesty that this takes with each other and trust in each other, and that what you want for each other is genuine and real, and there's obviously compersion, something we talk about a lot, and also a little bit of altruism, right? I mean, you're like, I want her to have this so much. I love her so much. And we've heard a lot of stories about that lately, but I think, we're going to leave, Dutch and his massive penis behind and get into a little bit of some of the other stuff you guys do.
I do. I have one last question before we kind of like take a right turn over after cucking. Do you guys out here in the wild, right, in that cucking dynamic, have you ever experienced like negativity or judgment because of it? Like, have you been outed or had conversations with maybe more traditional lifestyle couples, or what's that like? Have you always had good experiences?
We really haven't had any experiences that really, truly is negative. I mean, we've obviously met, people that things didn't work out or, it just isn't the right fit, but we've been very fortunate. And I think a lot of that does go back to the initial relationship that we had with Dutch, of him really helping educate us about what the heck we were doing and understanding, the dynamics of the lifestyle and what it really involved and the type of people that you meet and the behaviors that go along with that. And he obviously knew we had no idea what we were doing. So we trust you to be part of our wedding now.
Yeah, that's
we would do that.
So epic. And the reason I asked that question is because traditionally, like, when you think about how some of those conversations are framed around hotwifing or especially cucking, there have been some negative responses, especially if we're talking, in more vanilla environments or maybe new to the lifestyle. So I was just curious because Mickey mentioned Pornhub and it got my wheels turning. I'm wondering if more of the community and more people are embracing that type of dynamic because of it.
We met this guy once, and this is a long time ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago or so. And he, it was a meet and greet, and he told us that he was really into role play, and he was like really into being the evil villain, and he wanted to like dress up in like evil villain costume, like, Marvel comics, and we would be the superheroes and like all this stuff. And we left the bar that night laughing our asses off. Like, this guy is crazy. Okay. But it was also around Halloween. And so, we started thinking about it and looking at all these like superhero costumes, and we started like thinking, wow, we could like involve some costumery and involve some scenarios, and like, he finds us somewhere out in public and we're chasing him down, and so you can have like a location where you play. You don't play, but there's a little bit of teasing going on, and then it leads to the evil villain's, hideout, and and a very kind of elaborate type of scheme. And we thought, holy shit, this is actually kind of brilliant. And it never really worked out with him, but we met this couple. I don't remember how we met them, somewhere online, something, and started chatting back and forth about this. He wanted to be the evil villain, and she wanted to be, like superheroes, and they were looking for another couple to be superheroes with him. And so we met them, and we had cocktails with them, and we started talking about it. And like, we became friends with them. And like once a month we would meet and we would start planning this ultimate role play. And she was like a seamstress. So she's like, oh, I'm going to build this silver slut costume. And he had like the wand, and he was going to use that as a torture thing. And we're like, okay, well, she found this like super heroine. Kissy, what was her name on that one?
I don't know. I just remember you were Boy Blunder.
I was Boy Blunder. With the tights and everything. And we developed this, and we would laugh our asses off, but we actually like scripted it and exactly what was going to happen. And after, it took almost a year.
Oh my gosh, like, that's a huge investment in role play.
I really used to think. I really used to think I had sex in the
so
bedroom and I had fun doing it. You guys have so much more fucking fun in the bedroom than anybody.
I am boring as fuck. I gotta step up my game.
Honey, we're doing Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna be Bilbo Saggins or Dildo Saggins, and you're gonna be Handolf, and we're gonna be Lord of the Cock Rings.
Part of the really cool thing about that was just being able to, we didn't script out, like line by line what was going to happen, but we had to develop a communication between this other couple as well, right? So we're trying to write this role play that involves all of the wishes of all of the people involved, right?
Wow.
So the guy wanted to do some torture, he wanted to use a Hitachi wand, and he wanted to have some very specific things that he did. And the girl she had never been with another female, so she wanted that as part of, the interaction with this. And so for us, that's the really cool thing about adding the role play dynamic in, is that it allows you to have this additional level of communication with whoever you're going to play with around just boundaries and likes and dislikes. And, if I like having my hair pulled, and, you somehow like that, you work that into the scenario that you're doing. But it really allows you to be able to have a good communication. And part of this was, we all had kind of crazy busy schedules, and, so we would meet over, several months and trying to plan this out and, figure out how to make it work. And it ended up being this, just kind of incredibly, like role play that we pulled off. And, we're trying to, figure out like how to set up make a sexual wish foundation.
Dude, your analogies are out of this world.
Make a wish for perverts. I love it.
I don't know how to do it without it being prostitution, but
no, I think you framed it perfectly. And like, you really brought so you have all those dynamics. You kept saying communication. Do you remember in school when you had to do group projects and there was two types of people, right? One that was like, oh yeah. Like, that's cool. Like, no problem. I'm even excited about it. And then you had people like me, like, oh my God, like that's too much pressure, too many voices in the room. It would really freak me out. And me today would probably react differently. So I love that you took that element of creativity as a group of individuals, and it blossomed into this wonderful experience for all of you.
So real quick, the one thing now, like today, we've kind of evolved to that where we love the role play factor. And you can do it with anybody, like the single guy who's looking for a little bit of the bull cuckold way. We can develop that in a little role play where, she's the secretary and I'm the husband at home that's unemployed, and we have to meet at the bar. She's going to get fired, and, or there's different things, or we're out in the woods and the game warden catches us. And if, he doesn't get to, be with my wife, he's calling the sheriff. And we've done all these. We've done so many. Like, frickin', it's so much fun. And when people, like, ask us, hey, what are you guys into? Two things we always tell them: creativity and imagination. And they're always like, okay, like, it kind of blows people away a little bit, because most people are like, what are you into? Oh, anal sex. Yeah, me too. No, when you say creativity, if you say, like, creativity, imagination, it begins a dialogue, and you're like, and you can tell it, like, okay, this person just doesn't have a clue, but others are like, oh, you mean role play? And you start talking, you start developing. It's like, this person gets it, And so that's kind of where our like journey has kind of led us.
It's so amazing. You need to like head up like KinkyCon instead of like Comic-Con, or like write like the fantasy style erotic novels, because you guys would be amazing at it.
And that just means that you're deranged and you're good at talking about it. But I think it's awesome. So, and you guys have me saying so I want everyone to know that's how awesome this story is. I mean, you guys are
we're
amazing,
tripping over ourselves,
which I just love. But I have, I guess, actually two more questions for you. The first one is, what's your preferred play style? With as dynamic as you guys are and as creative as you are, what's your go-to?
Our go-to usually is one other guy. And usually now it's, some kind of MFM type of situation. So and we try to incorporate some type of role play element into any kind of play that we have now, just because meeting someone and fucking them is just like, okay, that's kind of boring. So we always try to incorporate some kind of role play. Jack and I are playing out in the forest, and someone is taking a hike and finds us. It's usually some type of situation like that, where there's another guy that finds us, and somehow I'm in a situation where I need to give myself up for the better of the world.
Yeah,
I do you guys often find yourself just like randomly playing in the woods, or is it planned? Like, do you just end up there and go, what the hell, let's go for it?
We have a favorite place. We have a favorite place out in the country. We're up north, so it's there's a lot of mosquitoes in the summer, and so it has to be like in the spring before the mosquitoes. So we only have this like 2-month time window, or late fall, but so the outdoor stuff isn't always easy.
Oh, I'm just going through the nursery rhyme in my head. Like, Jack and Kissy went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, and Kissy bent over the well and Dutch fucked her for an hour, and Jack and Kissy lived happily ever after.
I mean, basically, that's our life.
Yeah, it seems to be how it went. So, speaking of hills, let's bring this thing to a close, because we could do this with you guys all night long, and we're going to the next time we're at Hedo.
Dirty.
Yeah, all night long. Cheers, see what I did there. Tell our listeners, what's the next mountain to climb? As accomplished as you guys are, what's left? What's next? What do you have on your list that you haven't done yet?
So we have besties, the other half of the Dakota tribe that we go to Hedo with. We go to Desire, and they're from Vegas. So we're developing a role play with them, like a wife swap type of thing, where like the first day or the first full day we're there, I'm married to her, to the other wife, and Kissy's married to him, and we're gonna like try to like just pull that off all day, where people actually are gonna think, oh, they're together because we just arrived the night before, and kind of develop that into the night where we end up maybe in the playroom together, and hey, look at that couple. Well, that couple's my wife and his, and her wife and her husband, and something like that. It is more, we enjoy the couple thing. It's hard to find, but I think that's probably the thing that we're exploring the most right now.
I love that. And can we please have like a convo like post Hedo, and you let us know how it goes?
Well, so I am also turning a large number of birthday while we're at Hedo.
25,
so,
baby,
I was going to
25.
say, I didn't realize you were old enough to drink.
Yeah, 25. So, there's always some kind of epic, birthday wish that Kissy has and needs to be granted.
Ooh.
So we're going to work on that too.
Oh,
my
there is
my nipples just got hard.
The ultimate bucket list is the gangbang thing. We haven't. She's open to it. It's just got to find the right
set of gangbangers.
So
right.
You guys can help us in that down at Hedo.
All right, we'll start taking raffle tickets now. Jack and Kissy, this has been amazing. I hope our listeners have had half as much fun as we've had. You guys are awesome. Please don't ever change for anybody or any reason. And Mallory, why don't you let everybody know how to find us so we can get out of here and get this thing out in the wild for our listeners, because they gotta hear it.
I've had so much fun. I can't believe it's time to go already. All right, guys, we're Casual Swinger everywhere. Look us up on social media. That's Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the sites, Cassidy, Double Date Nation, SLS, SCC, Quiver. We're there. And if you want to get a hold of us, I'll try that again. If you want to get a hold of us, you can reach out, podcast@casualswinger.com.
And there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to change the name of this episode to Don't Fuck This Up, A Guide to Your Second Marriage by Jack and Kissy. But this has been so much fun. Come back and join us again in a couple of weeks. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.